All right, Joshua chapter 15 is where we are. And we've got a good chapter ahead of us. And where we're at here, let me show you what we got going on. If we can get, there we are, into the promises, the name of the entire series. Now, we will not be looking at least not in depth, we'll talk about it very briefly, the first section, which is the land of Judah, verses 1 to 12. You and I will spend the majority of our time in verses 13 through 19, which is the land of Jacob, the land of Jacob. And then we will see the land of the lost in verses 20 through 32. What in the world is that? And that is where you and I are going to have some fun. All right, Joshua chapter 15 is where we are at. And I will begin by reading verse 1, even though I just told you, we're not going to spend much time in that chapter or in that portion. But let me read this to you. It says, "So this was the lot of the tribe of the children of Judah according to their families." Now, just a little bit of information about that for your own personal Bible study, or as you continue on in your relationship with the Lord and coming to church. So this was the lot. In other words, this was the allotment. This is what they got. Okay. And it says, of the tribe of the children of Judah. So they were actually broken into tribes. Okay. And there were 12 tribes of Israel. And here it calls them, it was the tribe of the children of Judah. Now, this would have been the family of somebody named Judah. And Judah was actually no longer around. He had lived a long time before this. But this was part of that family, or this was his family. These were his. This was his offspring. His kids who had kids who had kids, that type of thing. And so this is all the same family. So even though Judah's not around anymore, still the entire tribe is named after him. Okay, so just give you a little bit of some better understanding. The lot, or the allotment of the tribe, that's the tribe of Judah, of the children of Judah. So this is the family of Judah. Okay, who is no longer around. And it says, according to their families. Now, this does give us an opportunity real briefly to remind you something that we talked about in the previous 2 chapters, I believe it was, last week for sure. Previous 2 chapters, and that was that the land at this time, the book of Joshua, the entire book is not about Joshua going through the land and defeating everybody. What we got was Joshua going into the land, leading the people into the land, and then defeating kind of like the big names, the big cities. And they went collectively and they took over those areas. But then he was led by the Lord to distribute the smaller areas to the tribes. And he would say, okay, tribe of Judah, you've got this land, go take it. Tribe of, and he would name the tribe and he would send them off to go get their piece of land. And so what we found out last week was that this man Caleb came, it was Judah's turn, and Caleb steps up and he's like, hey, I want the mountain, give me Hebron, and he goes and he takes Hebron, and we'll get some of that here in a few minutes. But now we're into this section where all of the tribes are, they're responsible for taking their plot of land. And really this is where, well, I was going to say this is where they start to get into trouble. Actually, that's not where they start. It really started with Joshua and the leaders. They were fooled by one of the city states there, and they didn't consult the Lord. They should have. They made a mistake. They did their best to fix that mistake after, but still they should not have allowed that people group to remain in the land. Well, as you get into the tribes and they start taking their plots of land, we're going to find it more and more common that they took this land, and then you'll see, but they didn't remove these inhabitants, and they allowed some of those inhabitants to stay there. And I made the point, I believe it was last time, that if we in our own lives, if you and I do not surrender sin to the Lord, specific sins to the Lord completely. If we say, well, I'm going to give you, 99% of it, but I'm going to hold on to 1%, that will come back to haunt you. The roots are going to be there, and they're going to continue to grow like a bad weed in your yard, and you just like mom or dad's like, hey, it's your, you got the weeding this week or this month or whatever, go out and pull the weeds. And, you knock down those weeds. Maybe you don't pull them out, but you just knock them down. Okay, it looks great. And then, a week later, you go out there and it's like, oh man, the weed's growing back again. And it just keeps coming back. And that's what sin does. When we do not fully surrender it to the Lord and we hold on to a little bit, whatever the percentage or amount may be, it is going to come back. It will work its way back into your life again. And so it's best that we surrender that all together to the Lord and forsake it. That's how you do it. You say, Lord, please take this. You confess it. This is my sin. This is what I'm doing. And please forgive me. And you have it, Lord. And then you want to forsake it completely and not give it the light of day or the day, the time of day. Is that what's going? Yeah, the time of day. You don't want to spend any time on that. Okay. So anyhow, so you and I know that the entire chapter is about Judah. And that's why under Joshua 15, it says Judah, because really this is all about Judah, this entire chapter. The first 12 verses are about the land. And what the writer does here in those 12 verses is he goes on to explain to us, to map out the boundaries of the land of Judah. So you can go through and you can realize, it went this far and it went that far. And if you like those kinds of things, it's very, very interesting. I do like those kinds of things. Historical things and looking at a map. And if you were to pull up a Bible map and look and, and then read through this, you could go, okay, here's the land of Judah. I've got a good, idea of where it was. And it's just very, very interesting, especially in light of what's going on today in 2024, where so many people, it's really popular right now on social media to hate Israel because they have, they're colonizers, or they've, kicked out Palestine, or, how dare them, take away land from somebody. Well, you go back to the Bible, and God's the one that gave it to them, and God's the one that told them to kick people out. It was God. So if you want to be mad at someone, it shouldn't necessarily be Israel. It should be God. Although Israel has, they've not been, as we say, they've not always been saintly or saints, in the way that they deal with other people. But still, it is God's land. God gave it to them. It's the people's land. God gave it to them. But you can go back and look through all of that, and it's really fascinating. At least to me, it is. Okay. Now, where you and I are really going to slow down, at least for the next several minutes before we move on, is in verses 13 through 19. Now, we had the land of Judah. That's the overall. This is all their land. Now we zero in a little bit and we look at the land of Jacob. Okay, so let's see what happens here with this one individual named Jacob. We've talked about him before. He had come to Joshua and he said, hey, you know what God promised a long time ago, and Moses promised it because God promised it, and I want Hebron. Give me the mountain. He's this 85-year-old guy, and he says, give me the mountain. Don't give me the flatlands. Don't give me the pasture lands and put me out to pasture. Don't do that. He says, I'm 85. I'm as strong now as I was 45 years ago, Joshua. And he says, you know me. Give me the mountain. I'm going to take it. And he certainly does that. Look what happens here. Verse 13. Now, to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he gave a share among the children of Judah. Okay, so within that tribe, Caleb gets this portion. According to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, so this was God ordained, namely Kirjath Arba. So in order to break this up and make it a little bit easier to follow, that's my subpoint there, Kirjath Arba, verses 13 and 14. And really the name Kirjath Arba doesn't really have any special significance to you and I. I just broke it up that way. You'll see why, because the next section is Kirjath Sefer, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But here, verse 13, he gets Kirjath Arba, and we find out which is Hebron. So that's the city, or that's the mountain that he had originally asked for. Give me Hebron. Well, it was originally called Kirjath Arba. What is Kirjath Arba? Contrary to popular belief, that is not one of the lands from a Star Wars movie. Okay? Kirjath Arba, that was the name of the portion that he got. And then we're told there in parentheses, Arba was the father of Anak. So Arba was the father of Anak, and this was evidently Arba's land originally. That would have meant that it would have continued on or stayed in his family, continued on to his kids. Now, Anak is believed to be a giant. Now, when I say giant, I do not mean like, the little kid story of Jack and the Beanstalk or, the Jolly Green Giant or something like that. But these were large individuals that were believed to be 8, 9, maybe 10 feet tall, something like that. Huge, you think of Shaq. I don't know. Does anybody know how tall Shaq is? I should look this up before. 7'1". Okay, very good. I mean, and he's just a monster of a man. You see a picture of Shaq standing next to somebody, and it's like, this is AI or something. This cannot be real. And it's absolutely real. When they show Shaq standing next to Kevin Hart or something like that, and it's like, no way. But he's just this monster of a man. Well, these individuals were believed to be even taller than him. And so you have this area that was named after Arba, the father of Anak. Okay, this family of giants, these people. And it says in verse 14, keep in mind, how old is Caleb? 85. Thank you very much. He's 85. It says in verse 14, Caleb drove out the 3 sons of Anak from there. We assume that if Anak was a giant man, a large man, that his sons would have been the same. And we find that his 3 sons are Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, the children of Anak. So when Caleb is asking Joshua for Hebron, give me Hebron. You've heard that the giants are there, but so what? Give it to me anyways. I mean, he's just absolutely fearless. And that was one of the things that we said about Caleb previous to this. We said he was fearless and he was faithful or faith-filled. He had all kinds of faith because he knew that there was this family there. He knew that they were large, and yet he went at them anyways. No fear. And that's a wonderful thing to know about this 85-year-old man. I don't know how many of you have grandparents. I would imagine that they're not 85 yet, although some of you may have grandparents that are in their 80s. But 85 years old. I mean, when you think about your grandparents, however old they may be, do you imagine them climbing mountains and fighting giants? This is just abnormal. It's abnormal. But with God in the mix, with God leading. And that's one of the things that Caleb said. He said, hey, give me the land. I know who's there. He says, but perhaps the Lord will be with me. And you and I want to remember that. We're not 85 yet. I don't know if we'll make it to 85, but we want to remember that regardless of our age, whether we be old or whether we be young and people discount us because of our youth. Nobody discounts me because of my youth because I don't have any more youth. But for you, if people are discounting you because of your youth, what does God say? We always want to remember that. It's fine that you think that. It's fine that you think that about my age or my gender or whatever it is, but what does God think? What does God say? We always want to remember that, and that's what Caleb did. He had a wonderful relationship with the Lord. He trusted the Lord, and he says, hey, perhaps the Lord will be with me. He knew the Lord was going to be with him, but he says, perhaps the Lord will be with me. He was 85 years old. The Lord was with him. And so it says here that he defeated those 3 sons of Anak, and essentially saying that he took over that land is what it's saying. He kicked those guys out. Now, in verses 15 through 19, very simply, I called it Kirjath Sepher. Okay, that's the name of the next portion of land. Then he went up from there to the inhabitants of Debir, not Demir, but Debir. Formerly the name of Debir was Kirjath Sepher. And Caleb said, now I like this. Here's Caleb. Caleb said, he who attacks Kirjath Sepher and takes it, to him I will give Aksah, my daughter, as wife. Now, we'll get to his daughter and the wife part in just a moment. Okay? But look what it says here. He gives this opportunity. He who attacks Kirjath Sepher. Now, I do not know why he was giving away that opportunity. It may be that he just wanted to train somebody else or give someone else an opportunity. That I can fully I do not think that he was scared. I think that that's out of the picture because we already know that he wasn't. He was fearless. So what's going on? Well, we really don't know why. It doesn't say why he gave away that opportunity to take over that city. But my guess, and this is just my guess and just my opinion, my guess is he wanted to give away that opportunity to somebody that, they could go in and maybe to train somebody else or train somebody younger, or so that everybody could share in the victory. I say that because I love that mindset. You will notice, you probably have never thought about it, but why do we have other adult leaders in here? Sunday mornings, Wednesday nights, at the events. If Pastor Chris is the high school pastor, why doesn't he just do it all? Why is that? Well, for a couple of different reasons. One of the reasons is there's no way that I could possibly minister to all of you. And it may be that some of you, you're dealing with things, struggling with issues. You may feel comfortable to come and talk with me, and I can give you some counsel and pray for you. But some of you may not. And that's okay. But we have some other leaders in here, and some of you young ladies, you may go, you know what, I really don't feel comfortable talking to Pastor Chris about this. But I feel more comfortable talking to one of the females, and so we have female leaders in here, and then you can talk to them, and so that way it spreads out. What I'm doing in here. It's not just me. The other reason is because I really, 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 really enjoy watching other people be used by the Lord. I love that. I love that. If we are at a camp or we're on a mission trip or we're out doing something, if I can, I know this sounds funny, if I can give away my job, I will. What is my job? Well, to lead the group and watch over, and I'll still be there in a general way to watch over and see what's going on and give some direction. But if I can allow others to come in and take part in that leadership, I love doing that. I love sharing the responsibilities because I love watching God use other people. I love that. I oftentimes see myself as a facilitator. I'm facilitating. I'll give you an opportunity to serve. Sign up. Let's go. I'll give you an opportunity to serve, and I'll teach you how to do events. I'll teach you how to do that, and then we'll let you try it. See if you can plan an event, and I'll help you walk you through that. I love that because it's not about me and how much I can grab and have control over. No. I want to give away as much as I can. I'm not going to live forever. Nobody does. And I think that we're all of us, myself included, we're going to die a lot sooner than we ever imagined. In other words, life is moving so fast. And I'm not going to be here forever. And somebody else has to be able to take over if I, disappear or if I get on the freeway and get in a wreck or something. Even if I get in a wreck and I'm just in the hospital for a couple of weeks. Somebody's got to be able to come in here and know how to conduct things. And oh man, wasn't that so embarrassing, man? So embarrassing. He's like, it wasn't, but it is now. But somebody's got to be able to jump in here and do these other things. So I'd love to share the responsibilities. Now, I do not know if that's what was going through Caleb's mind, but that's what I imagine. We're not told why he did this, but he did it nonetheless. Okay. And so he says, he who attacks Kirjath Sepher and takes it. If you can go and attack this city and take control of it, to him I will give Aksah, my daughter, as wife. Now, I am sure that, I don't know if any of you ladies in here think that, you know what, I don't really like that. That sounds so wrong. I'm sure other people outside of this setting, I'm sure we could find some people that would think that that was so wrong. What you and I need to understand is, number one, that was cultural. That's what they did. And the daughters, I would imagine oftentimes, though I would imagine not all the time, but oftentimes, probably most often, they were fine with this. They saw their dads as a strong, loving leader. They knew that he was doing what was best. and so they were willing to go along with it. I'm sure that there were some ladies that didn't like it, probably like a Disney movie, and they wanted to do their own thing and be brave or let it go or whatever, and they wanted to do their own thing, no doubt. But for the most part, this is what they did. This was cultural. So we can look at this and go, "Oh man, that's so wrong." And, okay, well, that was their culture. You can, like it or lump it as it was their culture. We do weird things in our culture too, and so this is what they did. I also wonder. Again, it doesn't say. I wonder if in Caleb offering his daughter, seems like he's just offering her as a prize, and just any weirdo that comes along that can go attack that city. I wonder if this was in some way prearranged, where he knew that Aksah would do it, and he said, "Hey, whoever does it," and he knew that Aksah was wanted to marry his daughter. I don't know. That's a possibility. I do not know those details. Regardless, here's what happens. It says in verse 17, so Othniel, the son of Kenaz, if you didn't think this was weird before, hold on. So Othniel, this guy named Othniel, that's a pretty cool name, I like that. The son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb. You following? Othniel, the son of Kenaz. Kenaz was the brother of Caleb. So Caleb had a brother, and that brother had a son named Othniel. His daughter Aksah had a brother Kenaz who had a son named Othniel. And those two, that would mean they were what? Cousins. Thank you very much. Some of you you're awake right now on a Sunday morning. Props to you. Yeah, it means they were cousins. So if it wasn't weird already for you and I, it just got a little bit weirder, right? Because we don't do that in our culture. We don't do that in the United States. Well, at least most of us don't, okay? We don't do that. We certainly have had a history, right? But so has, so many other people throughout the world. It was cultural. So it wasn't weird to them at all. In fact, it was commendable for them to stay within the same family. Now, you and I have at least done a little bit of studying of history, and we know that, you can't have like brothers and sisters marrying, not just because that's weird, but because as that continues on, there are birth defects and different things that come out of that. So, that cannot continue. Okay. So we know that part. But for them, again, it was cultural. And it was a good thing for them to stay, within that family setting and not go outside of it and, bring in people, that were Canaanites that were already in the land or something like that. That would not have been good. Now, it says, so Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it. So he did it. And he gave him Aksah, his daughter, as wife. Now, it was so in verse 18. When she came to him, so when she comes to her new husband, Othniel, that she persuaded him. You see this? You see this? She is not. You may imagine that, well, this Aksah, she's probably just some quiet little mouse, she just doesn't say anything, and, she just gets pushed over by all of these manly men around her. Well, she comes to Othniel, and the first thing that's recorded about that is she persuaded him. Now, we'll look at what she persuaded him to do in just a moment, but she persuaded him. How did she do that? We do not know, but here's what it says, that she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. Now, again, we do not have the specific details, but I imagine this young lady just saying, come on, Othniel, you got me. Man up. Go ask my dad for some land. He's going to give it to you. She is confident. You see that? You go, what are you talking about? Well, she knows that her dad loves her and that her dad wants the best for her. So what she does is say, hey, go ask my dad for land. He's going to give it to you. He's going to give it to you. Go ask my dad for land. And so this Othniel, that's exactly what it does. And so it says in verse 18, now it was so when she came to him that she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. So she dismounted from her donkey, and Caleb said to her, what do you wish? Now, here's another thing that I love. I love that Aksah, the daughter of Caleb, she's just like her dad. Remember what her dad did? Hey, Joshua, you know I'm an old guy. Give me this land, this certain portion of land. His daughter is just like him. Hey, go ask my dad for the land. He's going to give it. So go on, get out there, go ask it. And I love that, this new wife is encouraging her husband, like, hey, dude, man up, let's go. We need some land, we need some property, go get it. So here's what happens. Presumably, Caleb gave the land, and here's why. In verse 18, it says, now it was so when she came to him, she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. So there's some details we don't have in here. So she dismounted from her donkey. So now she comes to see her dad, and Caleb said to her, what do you wish? See, that's a loving father. Aksah, what are you wishing for? What's on your wish list? What do you need? What do you want? She answered in verse 19, give me a blessing. Okay, well, what does that mean? She explains, since you have given me land in the south, give me also springs of water. You gave me land. So the husband went, Othniel went and asked, and he got some land. They got land. Now she says, since you gave me land, give me some water. I love this. I've told you this before, but I have a friend named John Deming. He was a children's pastor, and we worked together for a long time. And sometimes we would be praying for things, and he would say, hey, let's just ask for everything. He said, we don't deserve anything from the Lord, so while we're asking, we might as well just ask for everything. I like that. Let's just ask for everything. And she certainly does that. She knows that her dad loves her, cares for her, wants the best for her. And so she says, hey, you gave me land, gave me some springs of water also. So at the end of verse 19, so he gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. Not only did he give her the upper springs or the lower springs, he said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the upper and the lower springs. You can have it. It's yours. Love it. I love it. You have not because you ask not, James said. He did go on to warn us, you got to be careful that you're not asking just so that you can spend it on your own, selfish desires. But, you want to ask for it for the right reason. But I love this from this young lady, Aksah, the daughter of Caleb. Now, let's get into, actually, I didn't even put it up there, or I've got something else for you, but here's where we're going to take a break. We're going to do something crazy here. Okay, you guys ready? Here's what we're going to do. Land of the Lost, verses 20 through 32 is as far as we're going to get today. Okay? Let's read through this. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Judah according to their families. Okay? So we know that here comes a list. The cities at the limits of the tribe of the children of Judah toward the border of Edom in the south were, here we go, Kabziel, Eder, Jagur, Kinah, Dimonah, Adadah, Kadesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Bealoth, Hazor, Hadattah, Kirioth, Hezron, which is Hazor, we're told there, Amam, Shema, Moladah, Hazar, Gadah, that's one, Hazar, Gadah, Heshmon, Beth Pelet, Hazar, Shual, Beersheba, Bizjoth Jah, Baalah, Ajim, Ezim, Etolad, Kezil, Hormah, Ziklag, Madmanah, Sana, Leboath, Shilhim, Ain, Rimon. All the cities are 29 with their villages. Okay? Everybody follow me? Everybody okay? All right. Let me show you something. Start at verse 21 down to verse 32. I want you to count. I see some of you counting already. Count the number of cities, please, that were just listed. I am so sorry. That was me. Count 38. Anybody else? Still counting? We'll just wait for some confirmation here. Anybody else? You got 38 also. Okay, so we got some confirmation. 38. Okay? 38. Thank you very much, Diego. 38. Now, is there anything wrong with that? Verse 32 says, all the cities are 29 with their villages. That's what you call a contradiction. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to play a little game here, and the game is devil's advocate. Okay, you know what devil's advocate is? It means I play the bad guy. And what I'm claiming right now is that it says 29 cities, but there are actually 38. It's a difference of 9 cities. And I'm going to say that's a contradiction, and thus proof that the Bible is not reliable. Anybody got a problem with that? No? Everybody's okay with that? Bible is reliable? We're coming in here Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, Wednesdays. You're basing your whole life on this Bible. Your family's basing their whole lives on this Bible. And there's an inconsistency. Are you okay with it? The Bible's not reliable. Everybody agree with me? No? Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of time to look into this matter. Okay? As you can imagine, I've got an answer. But of course, I'm not going to share that with you right now. Okay? We've only got a few minutes left in class. So here's what we're going to do. And this is going to be a big surprise, not just to you, but to our leaders also, because I didn't tell them I was going to do this. This is so much fun. Okay? We're going to break you up into some groups. So we're going to have some of you go with Miss Lisa. We'll have some of you go with Jerry Ann. And then we're going to, let's do a third group with Easy. I'm going to make him one of the group leaders. I'll be there to help out a little bit, but I've got the answer, so I can't be too much help. Okay? So we'll have, let's go with, let's go with 3 groups. We'll go with 3 groups. And here's what I want you to do. I'm going to let you use your phones in a few minutes, but not immediately. So make sure you keep your phones away. Okay? No asking Siri or anything like that. I want you to gather into groups, and I want you to try and work out, like, what in the world is going on here? What is the answer? And then we'll get back together and we'll go over the answer. Okay? So, yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's fine. I'll let you use your Bibles for the Bible app only. Okay, we'll let you do a search in just a few minutes, and we've only got a few minutes, so we're gonna move through this quick. But we're gonna try and break up evenly. But Miss Lisa is in the back, so some of you can take your chairs and go gather with her over there, or stand if you want. So some of you go ahead and you can go over there and gather up with her. Yeah, go ahead, make your way over there. And then Jerry Ann is back here with the green sweater. So let's have some of you gather up with Jerry Ann. And then we'll have some of you gather with Easy, who's over here with the Angels hat. And we'll get a little bit of discussion over here. What's happening? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you just, boy, we don't have much time. So I'm going to give you like 5 minutes. I know that's crazy. That's not enough time. But I'm going to give you about 5 minutes, and then we'll gather again. But come up with your best ideas, and then we'll gather again, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. I'm going to turn this mic off for a few minutes. All right. So what do we got over here? Anybody got any ideas? What's that?
So there's 29 cities, right?
They said 29 cities, but there are actually 38 listed there.
But what if it's not 38 cities, because it says 29 cities and villages?
Okay, I see what you're saying. I mean, yeah, you guys come up with your own thoughts, but essentially what it's saying there is, give you a list. That's 29, not 29 places. It's like, wait a minute, there's 38 here. So but go ahead. Go ahead with whatever thoughts you have. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Any thoughts over here? If you guys have thoughts, you've only got a few minutes, so you want to, speak those. Speak your mind. Nicolaius has the answer, man. I know it. I'll be right back. How's it going over here? Anybody got any grand ideas?
Yeah, Rylan had some
Rylan, what do you think?
that it could have been like a Amaro error.
Okay, maybe just a simple recording error.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. That's a possibility. It's a possibility. Possibility. Where did Layla go? Or who was asking for? Oh, yeah, you were asking about the translations. Seeing anything different in there? No? Okay. Miss Lisa, how's your group doing? Are they coming up with the answer? Like, and you know what? And I guarantee you, Lisa's a Bible student. She probably already knows the answer. So so you you picked the winning group right here. Anybody else got any thoughts? Any initial thoughts? Diego? No, not yet. All right. All right. You think you know what it is? You have a thought. What's the thought, Mrs. Amaro? Oh, okay. Because it says cities and villages. Okay. Okay. Maybe.
I agree.
You think you agree with her? Yeah. She's the Bible teacher's wife. So she. Few more minutes. Just a few more minutes. Few more minutes. Any developments over here? Any developments?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think, Emmanuel?
14 cities. 16.
29 plus what?
Plus 14 cities, and then plus the 16, you get the 20, and then plus 9, you get 21st.
Okay. So what? So do you know where the discrepancy is there? Why do they say 29 if there are actually 38? Any idea?
I was thinking like maybe like I got two theories. One, maybe 9 of them are not places or villages,
Okay.
and or maybe the other 9 are like villages and the rest are cities.
Okay. Maybe so. Maybe. Robbie, any thoughts? Okay. So maybe the cities and villages are just okay. Yep. Just okay. Possibly. Is that what you're thinking?
It said like all the inherited cities. Like, so they had to say those other 9 whatever things.
Okay.
Like they might not be big enough to be a city. So
Okay. I got you.
29 cities with their villages.
It says and their villages. Yeah, I got and their villages.
And with 29 cities with or and their villages.
The same thing if you counted more.
I mean,
So-
even though the next part says, what was it, like 14 cities with their villages, it could just be stating that like with their villages, even though it's just living like listing 14 cities, because the previous one just happens to also list the villages. And then
Maybe
that's
they
why
just have to say that on the rest of them because that one has villages and the rest don't. But they have to say
But-
that.
well,
The
why would
rest
they
of them
say
say villages.
they round it up?
A couple more minutes. About 2 more minutes. Keep working it. Yeah. They became the same city. Okay, that's a possibility. That's a good possibility. Yeah. Maybe they merged. Yeah, maybe so. Emmanuel's got a good thought over here from Easy's group. May have something. It's not correct, but it's a good thought. Okay. How's,
Had that thought too.
yeah. So, okay.
Right.
All right. How's it going over here? Corey's got the answer? No? Okay, not yet.
We have an idea. Not
Have an idea. Okay. Okay, gonna give you about 1 more minute. 1 more minute, and then we'll gather back up and find out who was the closest. You're like, done. Give an answer. Yeah. The answer is the Bible is inconsistent. It's unreliable. Right? Is that the okay? What's that? They rounded it up. Okay, they rounded it up.
Maybe they skipped it.
Maybe they what?
Maybe they skipped it.
Might have skipped a few. Maybe.
Might have been too small. Just like
Insignificant. It's like, don't count it.
like if I were counting the states, I'd skip New Jersey.
All right, let's go ahead and gather back up, or you can grab your seats again. Testing, testing, there we are. Testing, there we are. Now, go ahead and find your seats again. A little cold in here. Wow. Go ahead and find your seats again. Let's find out what is going on here. Now, first of all, let me say this. First of all, do not talk to your friends that are coming in for third service and tell them the answer. Okay, because that's no fun. You want them to suffer the way that you did. Okay, so let them enjoy it also. Okay, now. The other thing is this. There is this is a one of many classic challenges to the Bible. Oh, look at these. The numbers are wrong. Now there is one possible simple answer. Initially, it's just a number. It was recorded wrong. All the information is correct. But obviously somebody could say, well, if that was recorded wrong, then this was recorded wrong. Well, we have manuscripts that we can go back to and look at, and we can go, oh, the number in this older manuscript, the number's correct. This one is incorrect. So there was an error in recording, but all the names and all of the information is still the same. Okay, but in this case, there certainly is an answer. And did anybody? We're running. We got to shut it down pretty quick here. But did anybody look it up on their phone? Anybody look it up on their phone? What the answer is? You can do that right now if you want, real quickly. Anybody want to do that real quick, and then you can look it up. It is even finding it online. It is a little bit hard to figure out what is being said. But I'm going to simplify it for you here in just a moment. Now, before we do that, let's ask this. How about from Easy's team, from Ezekiel's team? Was there anybody that had a good and possible answer? Easy, did you have anybody that? Joe, what do you think?
So what I just realized was because you called it land of lost, that probably means that there was 29 cities, but that was 29 cities that they found. What was stated and what they inherited was 38 cities, but the only cities that they could find was 29.
Oh, okay. So you're thinking that there were 38 cities, but once they got in there, 8 of them they couldn't find them. Something happened, so they only found 29. So they said 29. Okay, that's it's kind of pulling into the neighborhood a little bit. Okay. Jerry, yes. Okay, we'll get to you in just a minute. Okay, Jerry Ann, was there? Ryland and Mariah.
I said that because as the Bible was translated, there could be a small grammatical errors.
Okay.
Like sometimes like a comma is misplaced, or
Sure.
like for example in the Gospels they could call Jews Jews,
Okay.
stuff like that. So it could have been change or I don't know, like
Okay.
something around that.
Okay, good possibility. Mariah, what'd you get?
I was saying how.
I'm sorry. Come on. Let's do Mariah back there first, and then we'll come to you. Okay. Okay. That's okay. So it's a possibility, right? At this point. Okay, Mariah. Which group were you in? Were you with Lisa or Jerry Ann? Okay, which group?
I was saying that there's two of the same name. Like it's not really important, but they said Hazar twice.
Okay,
Kind of like
so you're thinking somebody accidentally named the same one twice?
or like
No. Okay, but 29 and 38. I mean, that's a difference of 9 cities. So
or we were talking about how cities can have different names. Or
they can. Yep. Okay. All right. Wheels are turning. Miss Lisa, what'd you guys come up with, or who did you have somebody on your team that came up with a good theory? Okay. 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 So maybe Simeon took some of those. Yes. Okay. Isaiah, what'd you get? What'd you find?
said that it includes or some of the cities were later transferred to the tribe of Simeon.
Okay. So then when he was writing chapter 15, that had already taken place. So I mean he's listing 38 cities, but in his mind, they got 29 because the other 9 went to Simeon. Is that what we're thinking? Is that a possibility? Okay. This is a classic case of keep reading. Keep reading. Now, in most cases, you only have to read some more verses, maybe the rest of the chapter. In this particular case, you do have to continue reading the book, and you get a few chapters into it, and you find this out. Joshua 15, verses 26 through 32 is where we're at right now on the left. This is Joshua 19. This is what Lisa pointed out and what Isaiah found out. You see the highlighted or the emboldened cities? Okay. This is what Simeon got. This is their list. And in that list, you can see that there are 9 cities that they received from the land or from Judah. So, as you continue reading on, you find out that the author, as the author is going back and recording everything, see if you can picture this. The author, at the time that he's writing Joshua 15, Joshua 19 has already happened. So as he's recording it, he's listing all the cities, 30 to 38, but in his mind, Judah got 29 of those. They had 38. They ended up with 29 because they gave 9 of them to the tribe of Simeon. See that? So, classic case of, oh, look at this, the number's wrong. And some of you may have college professors or somebody that's, they're committed to convincing you that the Bible is inaccurate and that it's inconsistent. We always want to do our best to be good students and look further and, well, let's read some more. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with saying this to a skeptic. You know what? That's a good question. I don't know why there are 38, but he says 29. But give me a couple days. Let me look into it. There's nothing wrong with that. Do not feel like you have to have every Bible answer, to every apparent contradiction or discrepancy right there at the tip of your fingers, and you got to just spit it out right away and, blow them out of the water. It's okay to say, man, that's a great question. Let me look into that. Let me find out. And what Isaiah did, I told you all that you could pull up your phones and look at it. That's always a possibility. Also, you always want to be careful with what Bible answers you're getting online and who's the source and all of that. But this is one of those where you can find an answer and you go, oh, here's a simple fix or a simple answer to this apparent contradiction. And it's just one example that here we are again with the Bible. That is what we've been saying it is, and that is that it is the Word of God. It is reliable. I can count on it. I can base my life on it. It is accurate. I can trust it. Isn't that great news? It's great news because you stayed up a little too late last night, and you made yourself get up this morning, or maybe mom or dad made you get up, but you're here, and you like being here, and you're studying this Bible, and you're thinking, no, this Bible is true, it's accurate, it's real. And to find out or to be confirmed this morning that, oh, It looked like a contradiction, but it was an apparent contradiction. There is an answer. Now, I will finish with this. Some of you came up with some very good possibilities, and it is important to remember that if you have several possibilities, that means there's an answer in here somewhere. I've got several possibilities. Some of you were on that road. You said, hey, Joe was saying, you know what, maybe, and you guys understood he was close because maybe 9 of these they couldn't find or whatever the issue was. And he was getting into the neighborhood, understanding that maybe the author listed 38, but they only took 29, so that's why he said 29. But anytime that you can come up with several different possibilities, then there's an answer in here. And sometimes you can come up with several possibilities and go, well, this could be it, and this could be it, and this could be it. So take your pick. Take your pick. It could have been any one of these. Our Bible, the word is the Word of God. It is reliable, and that's why we are taking our time to study it. Let me mention some of these things, and then I'll pray in just a moment.